Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Carl. During an argument, my girlfriend suddenly announced that she was opening up our relationship without discussing it with me first. In response, I made a decision that caused her to deeply regret saying it. Even now, I'm still shocked by how fast everything fell apart. But to really understand how things reached that moment, you need to know what led up to that argument, the unresolved tension beneath the surface, and why her half-sister ended up triggering everything that followed. Nadia and I met during my last year of college. She had this powerful presence, confident, bold, and impossible to ignore when she walked into a room. At first, that energy was thrilling. She knew what she wanted and chased it without hesitation. For a while, I felt fortunate that she chose me. We spent most weekend together, and over time, I started noticing the cracks. Nadia always needed to be the center of attention. If we were out, she'd find a way to pull focus back to herself, either by dragging me away or creating a scene. When I made plans with friends, she'd guilt-trip me about not spending enough time with her, even though she went out with her own friends several times a week without a second thought. The double standard drained me, but I convinced myself that compromise was part of being a relationship and that things would eventually improve. They didn't. Over the next 2 years, her behavior intensified. She'd start arguments over the smallest issues. She'd shut me out for days with a silent treatment, then act like nothing happened. No apology, no acknowledgement. She openly flirted with other men right in front of me, then accused me of being jealous or controlling when I expressed discomfort. She made plans without asking me and got angry when I couldn't instantly rearrange my life to suit her. I was constantly walking on eggshells, trying to predict her moods and keep the peace. My friends questioned why I stayed, but I had invested so much time and emotional energy that the thought of starting over felt exhausting. So I stayed. I endured. I kept tolerating her behavior, because I hoped the woman I fell in love with would come back. Nadia lived with her half-sister, Amber. They shared the same father but had different mothers, and their family history was clearly complicated. Amber was 2 years younger, and according to Nadia, she'd always been her father's favorite, the golden child who could do no wrong. Nadia resented that deeply. She resented that Amber earned a full scholarship to a better university. She resented that Amber had a stable job in graphic design, while Nadia bounced between freelance gigs. She resented how effortlessly Amber seemed to succeed in ways Nadia struggled to project. From the beginning, it was obvious Nadia viewed Amber as competition, even though Amber never seemed to participate in that rivalry. The first time I met Amber, she was quiet, polite, and calm, completely different from Nadia's intensity. Where Nadia was sharp and outspoken, Amber was gentle and thoughtful. She offered me a drink and mostly stayed out of the way while Nadia took charge. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But as the years passed and I spent more time at their apartment, I began to notice things. I noticed how Amber truly listened when I spoke instead of waiting for her turn. I noticed how she remembered small details I'd casually mentioned. I noticed how she smiled at me when Nadia wasn't paying attention. And eventually, I noticed that Nadia noticed too. Once Nadia picked up on how relaxed our interactions were, her jealousy toward Amber grew. She made passive-aggressive remarks about Amber's clothes, her cooking, her friends. She constantly compared herself to Amber and needed reassurance that she was prettier, more creative, more successful. She became hyper-aware of every interaction between Amber and me. If Amber and I were talking in the kitchen while Nadia was in the shower, Nadia would come out and immediately insert herself between us, physically blocking the conversation. It was exhausting to witness. I felt bad for Amber, who clearly tried to keep things peaceful and avoid conflict. But there was something I couldn't ignore. No matter how much I tried to deny it, Amber was attracted to me. She never crossed any lines or said anything outright, but the energy was there. I felt it in the way she found reasons to be nearby whenever I visited. It was subtle, easy to miss if you weren't paying attention, but I noticed, and Nadia definitely noticed. Nadia accused Amber trying to steal me, which Amber denied with visible hurt. She accused me of encouraging Amber's attention, which I honestly wasn't doing. But the tension lingered constantly, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for something to ignite it. After nearly 3 years together, Nadia's behavior hit a breaking point. She stayed out late, without saying where she was going. She guarded her phone, angling it away when she texted. She picked fights, stormed out, and vanished for days. I suspected she was either cheating or preparing to, but I didn't have proof, and I was too emotionally drained to investigate. I was already mentally checked out, going through the motions and try to figure out how to end things without causing a massive blow-up. But I didn't have to decide. Nadia did it for me. We were at my apartment, arguing over something insignificant. I don't even remember what. It escalated the way it always did. She yelled. I tried to stay calm. Then, out of nowhere, she dropped it. You know what, Carl? I'm opening our relationship. She expected panic. She expected me to beg. She expected me to scramble to keep her, because that's what I'd always done. But after months of disrespect, constant exhaustion, and the realization that I deserved better, something clicked. I looked at her standing there, arms crossed, wearing that smug expression, and I smiled. That works out perfectly, I said. Her smile vanished. She wasn't prepared for that response. She expected resistance, emotion, desperation. Instead, I was calm because I was done. She immediately tried to walk it back, saying she didn't mean it that way, that she just wanted more freedom, that we could set boundaries. I wasn't interested. I told her that if she wanted an open relationship, then that's exactly what she'd get, and I'd be fully participating. She looked confused, maybe even uneasy, but she doubled down. Fine, she said. Do whatever you want. So I did. The next day, I messaged Amber. I told her Nadia had opened our relationship and asked if she wanted to grab coffee. I knew it was bold. I knew it would cause chaos. But I also knew Amber had feelings for me, and I wanted Nadia to understand she wasn't irreplaceable. Amber replied within minutes. She said yes. We met at a cafe downtown the next afternoon. I was nervous, not because of Nadia, but because I didn't know what this really was. Was I just making a point, or was there something real here? I didn't know yet, but I wanted to find out. Amber arrived shortly after I did and smiled when she saw me. We talked for hours. She shared her dreams of starting her own design studio and her passion for photography. I told her about my marketing job, my frustration with feeling stuck, my love for old movies and terrible jokes. We laughed, we connected, and somewhere in that conversation, I realized this wasn't about proving anything to Nadia. It was about recognizing that someone sitting across from me actually valued me and made me feel heard. We made plans to see each other again before leaving. I didn't hear from Nadia that day, which was unusual. Normally, she'd bombard me with messages. I assumed she was out enjoying the freedom she'd granted herself. I didn't care. I ordered food, watched a movie, and for the first time in months, I felt light. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. I saw Nadia's name lighting up the screen, call after call. 7 missed calls before 8 a.m. I ignored them. I wasn't ready to face whatever storm she was brewing. Texts followed. Demands. Accusations. I silenced my phone, got dressed, made coffee, and went to work. I had a meeting at 10 and wasn't about to let her meltdown ruin my day. Later, I grabbed lunch with a friend and told him everything. He wasn't surprised. When I mentioned going out with Nadia's sister, he laughed and told me I deserved better. For an hour, I forgot about Nadia completely. Then I checked my phone. 23 missed calls. Dozens of messages. The last one said it all. I know you were with my sister. My stomach sank. She knew, and she was spiraling. I called her back. She answered immediately and launched into a screaming tirade. Insults, accusations, rage. I let her talk until she ran out of breath. Then I calmly reminded her that she was the one who opened the relationship. That stopped her, briefly. She argued that my sister was off limits. I pointed out the hypocrisy. She yelled again, threatened me, threatened Amber. I stayed calm. If this is how you feel, I said, then we shouldn't be together. Silence. Then tears. backtracking, apologies, promises, begging. I'd heard it all before, so I ended it. I told her we were done and hung up. I blocked her number. I blocked her on every social platform. The noise stopped. The quiet felt like freedom. Amber later told me Nadia had confronted her. Amber stood her ground. She didn't regret our date, and neither did I. In the weeks that followed, clarity hit me. I realized how much dysfunction I'd normalized. I'd mistaken toxicity for passion, control for care, manipulation for love. Being alone felt peaceful. If a breakup makes you feel lighter instead of shattered, that tells you everything. Nadia didn't take it well. She sent friends. She showed up at my door. I didn't answer. I don't regret how it ended. Nadia thought opening the relationship would give her power. Instead, it gave me freedom. Her biggest mistake wasn't opening the relationship. It was assuming I had no other options. And when I said the timing worked out beautifully, I meant it. It worked out beautifully for me. As for Nadia, I hope she someday realizes the real competition was never her half-sister. It was the version of herself she refused to become. And that's something only she can fix.